You know everybody's fighting with each other.
Janice Joplin, the immortal icon of 1960s rock music, not only stunned the world with her passionate voice, but also left behind a mysterious death that has left the public curious. From controversial pornography to using stimulants at a very young age, Joplin's life is a fiery tragedy that both fascinates and chills people. Read on to the end to discover her life story through these rare photos. Janice Lynn Joplin was born on January 19, 1943, in Port Arthur, Texas, into a middle-class family. Her mother, Dorothy Bonita East, was an administrator at a business school, and her father, Seth Ward Joplin, was an engineer for the Texaco Oil Company. From an early age, Janice showed signs of being different. Her parents noticed that their daughter needed more attention than other children, as if they sensed a deep loneliness within her. As she entered her teens, Janice not only had to deal with changes in her appearance, she gained weight, and her acne was so severe that she had to undergo dermabrasion. But she also endured ostracism and brutal bullying from her peers. Her peers once gave Janice cruel nicknames like pig, freak, and pervert. While the physical wounds eventually healed, the emotional scars stayed with her for life. Yet, amid those dark and painful days, music became her salvation. Janice found comfort in a group of fellow outsiders, people also labeled as different. One of them owned old blues records by Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey, and Lead Belly. The raw, heartbreaking sound sparked a deep passion in her. She began singing blues and folk music with friends while attending Thomas Jefferson High School, where she was classmates with future football coach Jimmy Johnson. In 1960, Janice graduated from high school and enrolled at Lamar State College of Technology, then later attended the University of Texas at Austin, UT. Although she never completed her degree, her time at UT marked the beginning of her artistic journey. The university's student newspaper once published an article titled "She Dared to Be Different," portraying her as someone unafraid to challenge the norm, walking to class barefoot, wearing jeans, and carrying an electric autoharp so she could break into song at any moment. It was at UT that Janice began performing with folk groups, laying the early foundation for her rise to musical legend. Janice Joplin soon joined the folk group Waller Creek Boys, where she began showcasing her powerful, emotional mezzo-soprano voice. Her involvement extended beyond music. She also contributed to the university's humor magazine, The Texas Ranger, where she mingled with eccentric personalities, including cartoonist Gilbert Shelton. Shelton recalled how Janice would walk around campus selling magazines, embodying the image of a quirky, passionate young woman trying to find her place in a world too cold for those who didn't fit the mold. It was during those formative years, marked by pain and rebellion, that Janice began to forge her musical identity, wild, intense, reckless, yet deeply profound. She became a symbol of freedom, but also a victim of the very longing for love that society had once rejected. In the early 1960s, Janice began her difficult journey from a rebellious girl with a unique voice to a true artist. At the same time, she was living a life of inner turmoil, stimulants, and intense emotional upheaval. This period marked the beginning of the development of her artistic persona and the start of an ongoing internal struggle between her desire to live authentically and the emotional isolation and pain she constantly battled. The first major turning point in Janice Joplin's journey came in December 1962, when she recorded her very first song, "What Good Can Drinking Do?" at a friend's house at the University of Texas. Though the recording was raw and unpolished, it carried the rebellious energy and instinctive artistry that would come to define her style. Just a month later, in January 1963, Janice made a bold decision. She left Texas behind, a place soaked in memories of pain and alienation. To escape, she said. Alongside her friend Chet Helms, she hitchhiked all the way to North Beach, San Francisco, a haven for drifters, free spirits, and rebels like herself. By 1964, Janice was collaborating with Jorma Kaukonen, who would later become guitarist for Jefferson Airplane. Together, they recorded a number of blues standards while Kaukonen's wife typed in the background, a detail that gave the session its name, the typewriter tape. These intimate recordings captured a young woman still searching, experimenting, and defining her unique musical voice. But the freedom San Francisco offered also came with a dark side. Janice soon found herself entangled in its underbelly, arrested for petty theft, and increasingly dependent on drugs, particularly methamphetamine, with occasional use of heroin. She also developed a strong liking for Southern Comfort, a whiskey that would become synonymous with her image. Friends remembered her during this time as painfully thin, a haunting reflection of her internal chaos and the price of chasing both liberation and belonging. In May 1965, as friends noticed Janice Joplin becoming increasingly frail, they organized a bus trip to take her back to her hometown of Port Arthur, a hopeful attempt to help her rediscover herself. That return marked Janice's first serious effort to change her life. She gave up alcohol and drugs, adopted a traditional beehive hairstyle, and enrolled at Lamar University in Beaumont. Yet, the flame of music within her never dimmed. She continued to perform solo with her acoustic guitar and even participated in fundraising events, such as a benefit concert for blues artist Mance Lipscomb. A new ray of hope emerged when she got engaged to Peter DeBlanc, an IBM employee from New York. He proposed traditionally, even asking her parents for permission to marry her. Janice and her mother began planning the wedding, but everything fell apart when DeBlanc unexpectedly ended the engagement, leaving Janice emotionally crushed. Amidst the heartbreak, she met Bernard Giarratano, a social worker who helped her confront her greatest fear, that success in music might drag her back into addiction. She had once been warned that if she gave up music, her life would be confined to dull office jobs like so many other women in Port Arthur, something she could never accept. In 1966, a true turning point came when Janice joined the psychedelic rock band Big Brother and the Holding Company, a rebellious group from San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury scene. It was her old friend Chet Helms, who had once driven her to California, who convinced her to return to music. Helms sent Travis Rivers to Austin to bring her back, and Janice told her parents Austin was her final stop, when in reality, she was returning to the very place that had once led to her downfall, driven by an undying passion for music. Later that year, Janice had her first official performance with Big Brother at the Avalon Ballroom, a night that marked her rebirth in the rock scene. Not long after, her parents received a surprise letter revealing the truth: their daughter was back in San Francisco. Though Janice Joplin had returned to music in San Francisco, she initially made a strong effort to steer clear of drugs. When she rented a house with Travis Rivers, she laid down a firm rule: absolutely no needles in the apartment. But reality hit hard. One day, while Rivers was away, Janice caught some of his friends injecting drugs. Shocked and devastated, she broke down in tears, screaming, haunted by the lingering trauma and fear from her past addiction. Yet, in an environment steeped in rock music, boundless personal freedom, and endless parties, Janice slowly got pulled back into her old habits. Despite this, her artistic brilliance continued to shine. In the summer of 1966, she and Big Brother gave a major performance in San Francisco, a concert later immortalized in the album Cheaper Thrills. Around this time, she also plunged into a passionate yet brief romance with Ron Pigpen McKernan, founder of the Grateful Dead, a relationship that embodied both the spirit of the hippie movement and raw emotion. In August 1966, the band traveled to Chicago for a show, only to find the promoter had run out of money, leaving them unpaid. Desperate, they signed with mainstream records, but the initial recordings were of poor quality. Undeterred, they returned to San Francisco to continue performing, keeping their momentum alive. Eventually, the band completed their debut album in Los Angeles in December of that year, releasing it in August 1967. That same year, Janice and Big Brother embarked on an extensive tour, hitting venues from the Hollywood Bowl to Seattle, Vancouver, Boston, and throughout California. Amid the hectic touring schedule, Janice once again found herself in love, this time with a country singer, another vivid chapter in the passionate, turbulent life of Janice Joplin. During the years she shared an apartment with singer Joe McDonald on Leon Street in San Francisco, a modest address even listed on her driver's license, Janice Joplin entered one of the most intense, turbulent, and devoted chapters of her life. From 1966 to 1969, she lived in a whirlwind of passion for music and a relentless battle against her inner demons. Janice became more than just a symbol of a rebellious era. She embodied pain, freedom, and an unbreakable will to live. Her sudden death in October 1970 at the age of 27 sent shockwaves through the music world. Just 16 days after Jimi Hendrix's passing and a month after Alan Wilson of Canned Heat died, Janice became part of the infamous 27 Club, a haunting group of gifted artists who all died at the age of 27. Her death quickly became shrouded in myths, legends, and unsettling revelations. With her raw, raspy voice, electrifying stage presence, and fragile soul, Janice Joplin was often called the female Elvis Presley, a performer who could ignite a crowd with sheer emotional power. Her passing not only left an irreplaceable void in music but also ignited a wave of controversy and shocking stories, some of which were later revealed in Going Down with Janice, the memoir of her close friend and confidant, Peggy Caserta, who bore witness to Janice's stormy final days. The memoir Going Down with Janice by Peggy Caserta, a close friend and rumored lover of Janice Joplin, sparked public outrage upon its release. With explicit descriptions of heroin use and intimate encounters between the two women, the book ignited widespread controversy. It didn't just shock fans, it turned Caserta into a target for retaliation by drug dealers, at one point even resulting in her relatives being violently stabbed. Years later, Caserta would claim that much of the book was exaggerated and largely fictional, distancing herself from the chaos it had caused. Despite the rumors and scandals that continued to swirl around her life, Janice Joplin's musical legacy remained untouchable. Songs like Piece of My Heart, Cry Baby, and Mercedes-Benz became timeless anthems, etched into the collective memory of generations of music lovers. After her death, she became a beacon of inspiration for iconic artists such as Joan Baez, Leonard Cohen, and Patti Smith, all of whom saw in Janice a fearless performer who gave everything to her art, no matter the cost. Though her life was heartbreakingly short, just 27 years, Janice Joplin rose to become a tragic yet radiant icon of the wild, chaotic rock and roll era. She embodied a generation's hunger for freedom, authenticity, and raw expression, breaking boundaries with every note she sang. Janice didn't just leave behind music, she left behind a spirit, a defiant voice that refused to be silenced. And though time marches on, the fire she lit continues to burn, undimmed. Thank you for watching the video. Please watch our next video. Thank you and see you again.